All right, I just clicked stop or start streaming. Let's see if it comes up. Okay. Yep. Yes, she is. Yep.
Hello. Okay. Yeah. So.
Did we try the switch over yet?
We're about to.
Okay, good.
Okay. So once you get down to the, I should go. Am I counting down to 10 seconds after he waves? Okay. And then just go at 10 seconds. Yes. Perfect. Thank you. Bye. Okay. Good. Thank you.
All right, should I stay on? Oh, nope.
Cool. So it's a 10. Did he explain it to you? The 10
Not
second
really.
delay?
It's just, well, I wave, and then it's 10 seconds after I wave.
Yeah, after you wave, then I count down to 10, and then we're on air.
Oh, we got it.
So I just talked to Ken, and it was, Will's gonna wave once they're off air, and it's gonna be a 10. He's gonna start straight, wave, and then 10 seconds.
Are we doing a test?
So you feel, well, we should see what it looks like. Are they not gonna switch to us on the, I mean, shouldn't we see ourselves on UI7?
Is that what they're doing? Are they switching it so we'll see ourselves on UI7?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I thought. I don't know.
Can they show us what that's gonna look like?
Oh, I have no idea. No, I didn't say anything like that, no.
Okay,
All he had me do was just press start streaming. That's all he had me do.
okay.
I typed up just a list of like little topics to talk about. I did run out of time today, so I didn't
No
get
worries.
like super into it, but I did just bullet out a bunch of topics, and if you guys have a chance at any point, like during the 10-minute break or anything, just kind of go through them. Those are just the do's and don'ts of election day stuff.
Okay.
And then just kind of type out, and as I think of more things, I'll throw it on the list just so you have things to
Just
fill.
Jesse White, look at Byron, check his age. Is that on here?
He's 84. But he's not running unopposed, but he's gonna win.
Right.
And it's just what he's done for the state, and he's just an interesting old man, you know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want someone else who's just going to be back there, just to sit on their computer, just to be able to send messages, because I'm getting fine internet signal as well. Just check the Google Docs to add stuff.
If Gabby has her computer, I'll ask her to do it, or she can just use mine. I'll be plugging my computer into it as well, and she can just type in through the Google Docs.
Probably don't
To
check.
send messages, to send me messages.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Because it's also faster than running on the
Right, and running it in there, basically, yeah, I agree.
And plus, you can just have the sign up saying check Google Docs,
Yeah.
see let me know what's going on. I'm gonna run over and grab a piece of pizza real quick.
Okay. Okay, and the other one, I plugged in the splitter, and this is the other end for the splitter, so this will be coming out the board.
So wait, we're changing this. Oh, it's from back there. Got it.
Yeah,
I'll put it
that
down.
came off the board. So whichever headphones have the longest cable, we'd want to probably plug into the camera. Because then they won't be like it won't be dangling. I think those are a little bit longer, or are they?
Let's see, actually. Oh yeah, these are way longer.
Yeah, okay, plug those in, and then, like you said, Jake can wear those. And then the other one's plugged into the other cable. And then you guys should be set. One of you at least will hear everything coming out of the board, so you'll hear the phone calls and all of that. And I think coming out of the camera, you should also hear everything, because it's speeding it through. So you should be set.
Yep. Ah. This? No.
2 Pritzker.
Oh.
Yeah. Polls closed, and he was like,
He's
okay.
like, this didn't go my way.
This is the L.
Where's my backpack?
It's over here, sorry, limited. There's more room.
Also, we can agree that this could easily have been an hour show, right? We could cut it short. We asked Nancy to cut it short because we already know the outcome of the main race. That's a good point.
She's not gonna cut it short. This is my grade. We've already,
Yeah.
yeah. Plus, that would fuck up everything.
Yeah, but how do you think of it this way? I'm buying you shots later, so.
Yeah, as cool as that is. Open.
I say fuck it. What's life without a bunch of reckless decisions?
True.
Boom.
There you go.
That's how I survived alcohol poisoning twice.
Here's the story on NBC.
So I mean, what's the next biggest race?
I mean, for Champagne, that would probably be the Davis, Wanderian.
Yeah. Cool. So are we just gonna change the complete beginning of the show now?
Pretty much.
Hey, Benz.
It's your pink eye here.
He's technically not contagious anymore.
Unofficially anymore. I do have an eye patch that makes you feel more comfortable.
Please wear it.
I did yesterday. Many jokes were made at my expense, but it's okay.
I honestly
Yes.
was taking them in stride.
Honestly, like, I feel like that should be your look in general. Like, I feel like,
I feel like it oddly fits you.
yeah, like, I feel like you're a person that should have been wearing an eye patch
From
anyway.
the start.
Like, unironically.
War hero.
Like, if you came back last semester and you were like, yeah, I lost an eye.
I
Like,
lost my eye.
I
I really
wouldn't have been
question it.
surprised at all.
You'd be like, how did you do it? But also,
Also, this is
Hello?
starting to turn into just me and Nathan going to cams and waiting for Isaac to show up at midnight at some point.
Also, the other problem is that my right eye is like 20/60 vision, and my left eye is like 20/30.
So you're
I have, like,
blind right now.
No, I'm not blind. Like, I can still read that, but it's still just like annoying. Also, I can't see the scoreboard in FIFA. That's trash. Can I see the phone?
okay, so call you at 8.
I thought they were doing their 10-minute thing at 8. So we could pretty much just cross out this whole JB Pritzker.
How that makes the show longer. So
Okay,
that should
thank
make it
you.
longer. So what?
Bye.
It's not gotta be, but like,
This is annoying, dude.
can I see my phone? Incumbent first serve.
True. Well, not anymore.
Oh, you're writing a new thing.
Nobody knows. Wait, it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But everybody should be at their places.
Woo. I don't know why we have like
Okay.
7 minutes till the show starts.
It's gotta be
Nobody's around
really
doing things.
Well,
I think we're only gonna-
I'm thinking that you should get Isaac and Delia out, going to the Republicans now. Browner lost,
Yeah.
so getting reaction to that, because that's our lead.
It's already over.
Those guys go on the air. This race is being called. Browner's out.
Like,
Pritzker's
did it
in.
just close? Like the
So all your pre-recorded stuff, kind of needs to be moved down. And but I think if Isaac and Delia were out there talking to people, they could call back. Here's what they're saying, Republican headquarters. They don't think this is any indication that other Republicans are going to lose. They don't really need to be here to talk about this. I think they get out in the field and start talking to people and calling them out.
Okay, I have a little room over here.
The other people are saying there's nothing going on with it.
Oh dear.
God,
this is so dangerous. The power strip and everything.
What's up?
This is so dangerous. The
Oh,
power
yeah.
strip and everything.
I'm stealing your computer. I'll be back quickly.
Alrighty. Brookins is dead. We're all dead. Doesn't matter. Let's just play the stories we have and then cut it at an hour and then go home.
Sounds about right.
If I go home, I mean, I'm going to cams.
Yeah. Time to put my patch on.
No, we ate. You wanna make that bet? I thought we were doing the order, right? Still paying out though. We'll be okay.
Damn, the Republicans already know that.
Do you guys need these in there? I was in the process of writing some stats for the email from
We
you.
can take it.
But that's the last one that's on there, so.
Okay.
You know what? I did my best. Not my class.
That's all we could ask for.
I'm just doing this for my grade.
I don't even get graded for this, so.
Oh, it's like an assignment for us. You have to
That's
write a whole like essay on this afterwards.
That
About like what we
sucks.
did and like how we contributed and like
I wish
a whole
Tati
thread.
would have us do some shit like that.
That was versus system, but how is it not with the developers spots then?
There it is. More than slices there. Yep. That has no choice.
Why?
That's not a good one, that was a fun one.
I think it's just an unproven part.
You gonna give me a pen?
Yeah, I pretty much I just need to make an entity now.
Okay.
Probably need to remove this.
Where's Jake?
What's up?
Computer.
I
I
thought it was
moved.
just gone.
Jake left.
I just left.
He wasn't feeling it.
Wait,
No, I really wasn't
I've been
feeling it.
joking about bursting into tears. If you weren't here right now, just be it. 2 seconds.
No more questions.
No question. Here you go. Take it. I'm
Okay.
not holding it.
I've decided to increase your shots 2 to 3, so.
I moved some things around.
That's fine. I can go with all in one.
Jake, one thing.
What's up, dude?
Don't move your seat like at all.
Okay.
The leg is right up against the car strip, and if you knock it out, then the whole camera comes off.
Fuck yeah. Just what I wanted to hear.
Alright, Bruce,
Oh yeah.
time to get
Alright,
started.
so Attorney General is what's his face? Kwame and Eric Harold, but also Bubba. Don't forget about Bubba. If anybody forgets about Bubba for Attorney General, I'm gonna lose it.
Isn't that yours?
Yeah.
Okay. Checking mic levels.
It's in your back pocket. That's not my phone.
This is me wearing a women's bag. Because my friend didn't want to wear it anymore, so I was like, screw it, I'll wear it.
Okay. I mean.
Are we airing over there?
Nice bag, bro. And I was like, sorry about your fragile masculinity, bro.
Wow, love this conversation. Go sit down. Please.
I want to see the news break.
I don't. So should we close this now?
I guess so, yeah. These are extra talking points, and then this is obviously the ballot. Or should we keep the?
I don't know. We're getting
Will,
really
what's your
use the
email so
ballot?
we can share the Google Doc with you?
Browill410@gmail.com.
Are we really gonna use the ballot?
I'm already on the Google Doc. Tati, I'm already on it.
No, we created a different Google Doc because we don't want it to get jumbled.
Oh dear. Make sure you have a check Google Doc sign. Oh, here's your headphones, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's in them right now, right? Anyway.
Yeah. Do you want want some charge? Or are you good for now?
Some charge?
Laptop.
Oh no, I'm at 91. I should be
Okay.
fine. So
You're good.
You
Yeah.
guys have your laptops?
yes.
Okay. If you go to the Champaign County, one of you can go to the Champaign County Clerk's website. Early voting, all the pre-voting day voting results are there.
Mhm.
You can talk about that.
Well, we're opening with Rauner,
Yeah.
right?
But then you can talk about, looking at some of the other races. Today's votes haven't yet been counted, but all the people who voted before Election Day, those votes have been tallied, and here's what's going on.
So just the
with
election
those
results
votes.
one? The election results one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll give you some talking points too. I mean, we wanna sound like we're on top of it, up to date, bringing you the latest. And I've got them looking for some Rauner audio.
Okay.
Made a speech, if AP would pick it up.
Okay. Can't we use CNN as well? Oh, too late. All right. There's nothing on here. I love it.
It's in, courses folder. It's in code. I put it in 210 because I thought you were gonna do it, but it's also in 335. Who's logged in? Okay, so then go to 335 because it'll have to be. It won't
You're
let
in the
you.
335 floor right now.
Yeah, so go back to,
Can you guys hear me in the other room? Are those on yet?
it's only showing.
Nope.
It's in living.
Check, check. Check, 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 check. Oh, I need to scoot in shit. Oh, first one. Move this in just a touch.
So after we read each of these, are we just gonna be playing a story after them?
Most of them we're gonna be like interviewing people. So
Oh,
like,
is this for the second hour?
well, the top has for the first hour. The second hour isn't held down here at the Blue.
Okay.
Because like some of them like Station ID, it's a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
If you see this rundown, just follow it. That tells you what they'll do.
The PSA, you're gonna play, one's a 60-second, one's a 30-second, so if I say, oh, you can't see me. Okay, oh, you should be able to see me. We're in, like, PSA, that's like 2 minutes, but you're gonna play.
Check, check. Checking mic levels.
60-second ones and 30-second ones.
Should these be on?
If like this PA is just 60 seconds, so you should be able to hear me. But the biggest thing right now is
Check.
balance of power is done.
When do we actually start like going live?
8:10.
8:10.
It's 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Woo! So does everybody know what they're doing in 5 minutes?
Pretty much. I know that I'm winging it.
Pretty much. Oh, and I dropped my pencil.
I honestly like.
You might have to throw in
I just like barely looked at the binder and just pulled up web pages.
Mm.
Shit.
stories on the air.
Oh God. Put you over there, which is probably a bad spot, but you know what? I'm gonna do it anyways.
So, the script says that you're introducing Delia, but you're gonna have to switch that up and, just impromptu, or ad-lib introducing Eric. Eric's questions will be further down, or maybe I moved it up. I don't know if I had a chance to.
I don't see Delia or Eric.
The balance of power is Eric's story.
Balance of power. So that's well after like state representative and all that, right? Oh, okay, I found it. So balance of power
We switched those stories, so balance of power.
and county clerk.
No, balance, county clerk should go above balance of power. It should go county executive, county clerk, and then balance of power.
So wait, sorry. Say that again.
County executive, county clerk, balance of power.
It's in that order.
Okay.
Right now.
How do
But
you?
whatever the last sentence is, the county clerk is going to be introducing, I think, gun control. Gonna be good.
I have balance of power to station ID and then gun control.
Oh, station ID is here.
So like
okay,
commercial,
okay.
commercial. Yeah. All right, we're at 8:07. Cool. What are we doing here?
How'd you get? What's the page with all of like the shit that we were reading yesterday? Is that just the anchor intro?
So you go to this,
Okay.
and then you click tablet script viewer, and it brings you here.
Oh, okay, cool. That's a lot easier than opening every single different.
Well, because then you can also go to like teleprompter view for like
Mhm.
broadcasts and stuff. We're on 3 minutes, less.
Looks like I'm losing. Guess I lost. You don't have a tab.
I can move this up, right? It should be fine.
Yeah, you should be fine. Yeah, just be careful. You're good for now.
Why don't we put it like move it under that leg? That'll probably
It's
be
safer.
helpful.
Okay. Just be mindful if you scoot back.
Yeah, I got you.
You want to keep me in?
We'll save this for later.
If you can ad-lib things about the governor's race from notes or whatever, please.
What do you mean about the
I
race?
couldn't type in. Get together, Gary! My mom called me! But yeah, look through the binder because that's the lead story, but I didn't really have time to type the whole story.
I'm just gonna take this story from the Tribune.
Do you want to do it? Or do you want me to do it?
I mean, I have Attorney General. I think you're
Okay.
supposed to lead on the governor, but
Gotcha.
I mean, literally just go to Chicago Tribune, and if you want to find just pull a tablet from there. That's like I literally have a bunch of just tabs open. Also, 538 has like a running thing for Pritzker and Rauner. They have one for. I think they have one for Londrigan too.
I'll start
They have one
off
for
with a
Holcomb.
solid chunk of the rounder stuff, and then you just want to like pipe in like a small piece at the
Yeah,
end of it.
I can do that.
We're at 8:09. Get ready. We're about to go on.
Ready.
Ready for the signal? Hello? Okay, we're ready whenever you are. Okay, did they start the live stream?
It's been going. It's on. Yeah.
Oh, dope.
You guys ready?
Ready as spaghetti.
Let's do this.
A little wave.
Good evening. I'm Will Bro.
And I am Jake Hassan. Welcome to UI7's live election night coverage from the campus of the University of Illinois.
We're in a studio in Gregg Hall, and we are here bringing you live coverage of election night from Richmond Studio.
You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ILElect or follow the hashtag ILLelect for live reporter updates.
Tonight we'll be keeping you up to date on the Governor, Attorney General, 13th Congressional District, and 104th State Representative District, and County Executive and County Clerk races.
We have reporters stationed around the Champaign-Urbana area to bring live coverage from the field.
We actually have some breaking news for you from the governor's race. Governor Bruce Rauner has conceded to J.B. Pritzker just minutes after the polls have closed. This is big breaking news that has been recently brought up after this being one of the most expensive races that has been brought up to this date. J.B. Pritzker and Bruce Rauner has been spending some crazy amount of numbers on their campaigns. It's actually been record-breaking for Illinois, so it's very interesting to see how this race has turned out after ending like this.
Yeah, Pritzker obviously has been dominating the airwaves, the commercial waves. He's been all over Hulu, everything like that. Just been everywhere, and some people were speculating that it could hurt his chances, but with just about 10% of the votes in, Pritzker had an unbelievable lead, so obviously Rauner felt like that was a lead that couldn't be overcome and decided to call it quits just a couple minutes, about an hour after polls closed.
Yeah, it's crazy to think with the amount of money that was spent and how often we were seeing not only just attack ads, but just all types of ads on all sorts of platforms constantly. So this was very easily a more expensive race than it has been in the past, especially with all the crazy amount of publicity and everything that we've been seeing all the time lately.
Yeah, it felt like this race is going out with a whimper more than a bang, because we expected this to be a lot tighter for sure, and something that we'd be watching all night, because it is the governor of Illinois. It is a huge position, obviously the biggest race in Illinois, and it's over so quickly.
Well, historically, University of Illinois student voters do not turn out to vote. In the midterm election in 2014, the lowest percentage of ballots reported was 12.8% at the University YMCA. Some off-campus polling places reported over 60%. Polling places on campus include the Illini Union, the Hillel Center, the Student Dining and Residential Programs Building, as well as the University YMCA and Activities and Recreation Center, better known as the ARC.
Yeah, on campus, the Union was the most popular polling place. In 2014, almost 20% of people registered to vote at the Union, showed up, and they voted there. This year, the Illini Union also hosted early voting starting on October 25th. Across the state, there's also same-day voter registration. That means obviously that voters can go register to vote at all polling places and proceed to vote there right after they're registered. Part of a statewide movement to get out the vote, and here are a few people expressing why they wanted to vote. Or not. Why would we play the story?
We're just waiting on our story to come up, folks. Hang on 1 second.
Oh, yeah, you go.
One of the major issues in this election this year is the balance of power in Congress. Right now, Republicans hold a majority in both the House and the Senate, but if the polls are accurate, Democrats have the potential to take control of the House. Reporter Eric Sofranco has more on the balance of power in Congress could shift. So, Eric, what was the outlook for the balance of power in Congress heading into tonight?
Well, coming into tonight, the Democrats are the clear favorite to retake control of the House of Representatives. They only need a net gain of 23 seats, and if the polling is correct, they may actually end up with more than that. However, we obviously will not know until they actually vote. On the other hand, the Republicans are the clear favorite to hold on to the Senate. They currently have 51 seats and only need 50 to hold on because Vice President Mike Pence cast the tie-breaking vote in a 50-50 tie. They are actually projected to pick up seats tonight and could end up with as many as 56 seats if all the races end up going their way.
So, what is the voter turnout looking like for this midterm election as compared to previous midterm elections?
Well, turnout for this midterm election has already shattered the 2014 numbers in terms of early voting. 33 million people have actually already voted early this year compared to 20 million in 2014. There is clearly much more energy on both sides as compared to previous midterm elections, and it's all tied to whether voters approve or disapprove of President Trump. Turnout is obviously not matching the 2016 numbers because it was a presidential election, but midterms never have the same voter engagement as presidential elections.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Eric. Hold on 1 second, folks. On campus, the Union was the most popular polling place in 2014. Almost 20% of people registered to vote. Thank you very much, folks. We'll be heading up to break in the next few minutes.
Okay, Eric, you're free to leave the studio. Do you have the Google Docs open?
I do, yeah.
So you know Faye is coming up, is on the board.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
You have the Google Docs open. Yeah, the
Correct, yes.
So Faye's on the line right now.
On the phone right now? Right now?
She should be feeding it.
I'm hearing the ad right now.
No, I mean that's what I was saying. That
Yeah.
we were gonna go to Faye right after, not the commercial.
Okay. What's the story called?
What?
What's the story called?
It's not a story.
It's
She's
still-
calling
it's-
in because of Pritzker.
Oh, okay.
She's calling in for Pritzker, not
No,
Rauner.
she's calling in from the Republicans.
Okay.
And then after Faye, we're going right to Taylor.
Oh, so we're not even doing this at all right now.
We're not doing the stories. We're gonna keep running with this governor's thing
So we're not doing the script at all. Right.
for now. Tati,
So we're not going from the script at all.
not right now. Tati. So
Faye next, you guys.
Faye, and then after Faye, lead into Taylor. Or are we
Yeah,
doing?
Faye lead into Taylor.
And Taylor's with Pritzker, right?
That's not true because we can't call that back. Exactly, we can't fade in that back.
How long do you need to get to Taylor?
So loud.
Food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
So we're going to a story after Faye now.
We can't do it without yours. Brought to you by Feeding America and the
Do we know what question? Do you have the questions asked, Faye?
Alrighty, Faye. Faye is at the Republican Party right now. Faye, could you just tell us how's it going right now?
Thank you to Faye for that call and for getting those quotes. We will now be going into a story by Isaac Trotter about people leaving Illinois and their decisions to leave the state with these upcoming elections. Did I say Isaac? Or did I say Isaac Trotter?
I heard Isaac Trotter.
What's up?
I'll check. Yeah. Okay. Can you reach over and unmute that other audio channel? Because they're not hearing anything except the two of you talking. They're not hearing any of the stories.
Lakes and fun things to do outside. And they also don't have sales tax, which is very nice, especially because they have the Mall of America.
And Connect doesn't plan to stay in Illinois forever.
I think the only thing that holds me back to Illinois is that my family is there. I don't even, I like Minnesota too, it's obvious, I think it's a better state, but, the Midwest is not really where I want to end up, so I like Minnesota better than Illinois, but my family is what is holding me back to Illinois, but I would say the Midwest is not my top choice of places to be.
While politicians blame each other and point to rising taxes as a reason for the outmigration, University of Illinois geography professor Ezekiel Calipeni believes that the exodus out of Illinois is not unique to the state.
What I know is the north-south migration in the United States as a whole. Places like New England, the Midwest, losing people to places like the South, Atlanta, Houston, California. So some parts of America are gaining people, and then you have other parts of America losing people because Rust Belt versus Sun Belt.
For UI7 News, I'm Isaac Trotter.
So we have reporter Taylor on the line right now, on the scene right now. So Taylor, could you just tell us about the impact that this has on the civilians right now in the area? Could you just tell us about the impact on civilians that this has had?
Could you repeat that question, please? There's a connection.
Could you just tell me about the impact that this has had on civilians?
Okay, well, I think the impact on civilians, especially the millennials these days, is having a Democratic governor in office will make it easier for legislation to be passed in Illinois by having Ronner in office constantly fighting with Democrats because neither side can see the others. Nothing was getting passed, and it was affecting the people of Illinois. Now, having a Democrat in office, I think a lot more legislation can be passed to better the people.
You mentioned mostly the Democratic vote. Would you say that millennials are mostly Democratic, or in that sense?
Well, I don't want to speak on behalf of all millennials. I have friends who are Republican, but a majority of my friends are Democratic, and that is because I feel like our minds are opening up more and accepting more these days, and I think that's what the Democratic brand stands for.
Okay. Well, parties aside, how important do you think it was for millennials to vote?
Extremely important. We are the future. This is our country. We have and in order for a real change to take place, we have to get out and vote. And I'm so proud of seeing so many people waiting in line just to vote, regardless of what party they voted for. Just expressing your right to vote as an American is so important.
That was perfect. Thank you very much, Taylor. Have a good night.
Thank you.
So we'll be moving into a story with our reporter, Isaac. For now, I just want to talk to you a little bit about updates with the Pritzker and Rauner campaign. Well, the latest numbers that we have is that Rauner used about $171.5 million in his campaign funds over the course of the 2 years. And collectively, a report from last month was that, oh, sorry folks, that it looks like we are running close on time, or we're going to be going to a break. Thank you very much.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right? Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/therightseat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And we are back. Thank you for holding with us through that break. We now go to Isaac Trotter. He is with a Republican Party. And Isaac, what is going on there? What is the feeling there?
There's sense of, and the easiest way to say things, the Republicans are extremely angry that J.B. Pritzker is going to be the next governor of Illinois. They think that this is a bad thing for the state of Illinois. They think the taxes are going to go through the roof. And I talked to a couple people here, and you know, they just don't understand why the state of Illinois would vote for someone who wants to raise taxes so much. And they talk about how many people have left the state of Illinois, over 300,000 in the last 2 decades, and they think that number is going to go higher because of JB being in office.
Were there any?
So, I mean, there's just a sense of disappointment that Rauner doesn't get another chance, but they also understand that Rauner didn't do a very good job, and Pritzker really capitalized and used really good PR and really good speech. Really good speaker, and that kind of connected with the people of Illinois.
Well, were there any specific reactions to people when they heard specifically that Bruce Rauner conceded?
Yeah, I mean, the easy reaction that they had was, well, the polls were right, because that's kind of what had been hinted at for a little bit of a while, and at the end of the day, though, they feel like some of these other races are really, really big. They're looking at Erica Harold right now and see if she can win that thing. They also are looking at the Betsy Londrigan issue right now with Rodney Davis, and if Rodney Davis can win that spot right now, and that's a big one. They need Rodney Davis to win that, because if Pritzker has control, along with Mike Madigan, who's kind of run the state of Illinois and been in there for a very long time, they think that the Democratic idea of raising taxes is going to really be a problem for the state of Illinois. And again, like I talked to a couple people who they said that if the Democrats have full control of the state of Illinois, they're going to move out of Illinois just because the taxes are going to be too high.
Thank you very much, Isaac.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
In the 13th District, moving on from that governor's story, the 13th District congressional race in Illinois, gun control is an issue for many people, whether it be stricter gun legislation or reducing current restrictions. UI7's Delia Bradley reported on the potential restrictions on firearms depending on who wins the race.
Have you guys? No, you're on.
Across Illinois, voters are calling for action on gun control. They want to prevent their friends and family from being victims of gun violence. Ellie Hanauer is one of those fighting for tougher gun laws.
The thought of my children having to go through lockdown drills on a daily basis or on a regular basis, and just not wanting to have to send my children off to school with the fear of being shot.
Hanauer volunteers with the Illinois chapter of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. This grassroots organization was founded after the 2012 shooting of Sandy Hook Elementary School. They fight for what they refer to as common sense gun laws and support candidates who pledge to do more to protect individuals from gun violence.
Moms Demand Action as an organization is pro-Second Amendment, so we have gun owners, we're bipartisan, Republicans, Democrats in our organization. What we're most concerned with is getting laws passed that keep guns out of the hands of people who shouldn't have them.
The bipartisan organization organizes phone banks and raises money for candidates they support, such as Betsy Dirksen Londrigan. Dirksen Londrigan believes gun violence is a national epidemic, which should be handled as a public health concern.
Gun owners and non-gun owners alike have children and grandchildren in school. Gun violence is all of our concerns.
Dirksen Londrigan's opponent is incumbent Rodney Davis. He has voted with the National Rifle Association on gun control issues and supported Governor Bruce Rauner's veto of regulations for gun dealers. He is also a member of the NRA.
Criminals don't care if they fill out the correct form for a FOID card. They don't care if they legally purchase a firearm. And we need to make sure that every American has a right to protect themselves.
Although Dirksen Londrigan supports the Second Amendment, she stands against the NRA.
And I have said time and again, I will take not one dime from the NRA because I don't want their money. And Congressman Davis has taken a lot of money from the NRA. And I think that that's reflected in his votes.
The business manager at High Caliber Training Center, James Seikel, says focusing on regulation at the national level is not a concern among gun owners.
On the federal level, I don't think the race is going to affect gun legislation at all.
Voters in the 13th District could help shift the power in Congress, but even if Democrats take control, it isn't clear whether the gun laws would be changed. For UI7 News, I'm Delia Bradley.
Thank you to Delia for that story. Moving on to some of the other races in the state of Illinois, we focus on Attorney General race. That features University of Illinois alum Erica Harold as a Republican candidate for Attorney General. And the role of the Attorney General, for those of you who are not aware, is to be the state's chief legal officer, and they are responsible for protecting the public interest of the state and its people. Her opponent, the Democratic candidate Kwame Raoul, is neck and neck with Harold thus far, as well as with Bubba Harsey, the Libertarian candidate, who holds strong rural views in the third. And in a year where the Democrats are trying to take over Congress,
Betsy Dirksen Londrigan,
that's on me,
the Democratic nominee, and Rodney Davis, the Republican, are running quite close as well. Londrigan, like many of the Democrats across the state, has made her main stances around affordable health care and coverage of pre-existing medical conditions, while Davis focused heavily on reducing taxes. Cynthia Cunningham is the Democratic representative in the General Assembly for the 104th Representative District spot. She has a degree in recreation therapy from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Her main stances include lowering taxes, adding quality jobs, and building a stronger economy, as well as protecting seniors and improving health care affordability, investing in public education, and expanding vocational programs, ending politics as usual. Mike Marin is the Republican representative in General Assembly's. Marin's focus is on transparency in government spending, as well as a focus on the Agricultural Center.
Also involved in some of these races, the county executive. It's a new position for Champaign County. Current county clerk Gordy Holton is running as the Republican candidate, and Darlene Kluppel is the Democratic candidate. couple wants to focus on regional economic development, while Holton is leaning more toward county-based funding. Final race that will be covered tonight is county clerk. Their time to shine comes around voting time around now. The candidates are Aaron Ammons and Matt Grandone. Ammons has created his platform on increasing student voter turnout, while Grandone has worked under current clerk Gordy Holton. Now we come in with some results. Important for everyone to know that it's only about 20% of the votes are in right now, but thus far, the votes that were counted, obviously we updated you on the governor's race and the concession of Bruce Rauner, but after 21% had voted, Pritzker had almost 60% of the vote with 26,000 to Rauner having just 33% and about 14,000. On to Attorney General with Kwame Raoul and Erica Harold. Raoul is leading the vote with 56.1% of that vote. He's got about 24,000. Erica Harold is at 41%, almost 42% with 18,000. And Bubba Harsey is way behind both of them. He's only got 1.9%, 845 votes for Attorney General. Moving on, Secretary of State Jesse White, so far with 21% of the vote and is running away with it. He's got 72% of those votes. He's got about 31,000, while Jason Helland has about 10,000, 24% of that, and Steve Duttner, the Libertarian candidate, has only 1,000, only 2% of all the votes that have been in so far. Comptroller is, again, just still reminder that these are only 21% of the votes, but Susana Mendoza, she is the Democratic candidate for comptroller. She has 64%. She has about 27,000 votes. With Darlene Singer, who is the Republican vote, she has 14,000 of those votes.
Moving on with East Coast polls closing out. Results coming in, potential 2020 presidential candidates Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren won their Senate races in Vermont and Massachusetts, respectively. Based on the early results, voters feel very strongly about health care and immigration issues in this election. And now we'll be turning over to our reporter Faye's story, which is on international first-time voters.
Is a journalism student from U of I. He grew up in Shanghai and received U.S. citizenship at the age of 10. The upcoming election is going to be his first-time vote.
This is my first time really to have this obligation of being a U.S. citizen, so I should definitely take advantage of this opportunity and to really see how my vote can make a difference.
Tai said immigration policy is one of his major concerns in making voting decisions. Tai believed that the Republican Party may lose some immigrant votes in the election in regards to Donald Trump's administration to prosecute all illegal entrants.
I think the current immigration policy is somewhat strict to what it has been for the past few decades in the U.S. because the United States is a country built upon immigrants. And the current immigration act or the current immigration policies, I believe, are very strict because it tears apart families. It leaves young children without their parent living alone in the U.S. and it also makes the U.S. lose a lot of their important resources, a lot of important human resources.
Since Trump is in the House, Republicans has gained more seats than Democrats. Tai said he will vote for more Democrats.
Definitely right now in the U.S., the Republicans are more dominant because obviously the president, Mr. Trump, is Republican, and as well as, for example, the 5 out of the 9 justices in the Supreme Court are also Republican, which means when it comes to Supreme Court decisions in making new laws or making new rules, it's gonna lean towards the Republicans.
For the 13th district congressional seat, the race has grown increasingly heated between Betsy Landrigan and Rodney Davis. Tai said he will vote for Landrigan, who he believed has represented his thoughts on immigration policy.
Betsy is sort of neutral in her stance, where she thinks that there's a better alternative in coming up with a better plan to as to what the government should do with the immigrants.
Another U of I student, Brian Wan, is a second-generation immigrant born in Seattle. Wan said he will vote because he hopes immigrants can have a greater voice at the county-level election.
Because it's more local, where we live in, and the elections, whoever gets elected can determine our day-to-day lives more closely than compared to a state level.
UI7 News reporter Kai-Ching Wei contributed to this report.
And some breaking news that we have for you. In the Illinois Attorney General race, Republican candidate and university alumnus Erica Harold has conceded to Democrat Kwame Raoul. The two were locked in a very tight race until Harold's decision to concede. Reporter Isaac Trotter is on the scene. Isaac, can you tell us what is going on there right now?
Appointment, and after Bruce Rauner drops out, Harold now drop out. It's a bad look for the Republicans right now. They're not feeling so great, and they're kind of all their hopes now go on, Rodney Davis, and that's a big race for them, and they really need Rodney to win, and it's an uphill battle. And, I ask people here with their reaction, where do you go from here now? Erica Harold was lost, and their response was, well, we're going to Indiana. And again, when they believe that if the Democrats take over and the Democrats are in control, they're going to have to leave the state of Illinois. And that's what people are saying. And, I kind of followed up with a couple people on that. And they're like, well, it's just hard to pack up my whole farm and kind of go to Indiana. But, it feels like he might have to sell and, get out of the state. And Eric Harold's a big loss. They thought that she did a really good job in this entire, race. They thought she campaigned in the right places. She thought she talked to the right people. They thought that she was the most qualified person easily, and they thought that she really connected with the people of the state of Illinois better, but the voters disagreed.
Isaac, now they've had two huge races and they've had their candidate drop out. Have you asked any of them what went into those decisions? Why did they feel that they had to concede so early?
Yeah, they don't know why. And part of it is the fact that a few counties that they thought were going to be more pro-Republican has automatically dropped out, and as those numbers continue to grow, when they have more Democratic counties, like the ones up in Chicago, that are still yet to be counted, that can lead to bad things, which is why they're dropping out. And they're also down by a significant amount of votes, so they wouldn't be able to come back. And, there's a lot of disappointment here. They had high expectations, the Republicans did, for this night. Erica Harold was one that they really thought was going to be the next star, the rising star, had a chance to maybe be a governor in the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. And for her to drop out, it's a blow to them and going to this group.
All right, Isaac, thank you for that. We will now be getting a story from Nathan DeHaan, but first we'll be taking a short break. So when we come back...
Oh, no more break.
Break? Yep, okay. We'll just be going, I guess. So we have a story from Nathan DeHaan. We got an executive order not to go to break. So Nathan will be coming in to give you a quick story from him on what has happened here early in the voting with Erica Harold and Bruce Rauner dropping out. Or are we going to break?
Go to break.
All right, we're going to break.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right? Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I want to change some things. I want to help more kids graduate from high school.
I want more of my neighbors to have access to health care.
I want to change what I see around here.
United Way is creating real, lasting change where you live by focusing on the building blocks of a better life. Education, income, and health.
I just want to see more smiles on my sidewalk.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. For more, visit United Way at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
So I'm here with reporter Eric, who has an update on the Londrigan and Davis case. Eric, what can you tell us now?
Well, so far, 20% of the vote has been reported, and we have Davis trailing Londrigan 60% to 39%. But it is important to note that most of that vote is coming from Champaign County. We do not yet have results from the other counties in the district. So there is about 80% left of the district to report. So it looks like we're going to have a long night ahead of us.
That sounds about right. Just for a little bit of recap for those of the people who don't know, I'm just going to go through some of the stances that Londrigan has had compared to Davis. Some of the main stances that Londrigan have had is mainly healthcare, taking steps towards universal healthcare coverage by stabling the ACA and protecting essential health benefits, supporting a public option that can compete with private insurers, and in terms of jobs, she wants to create a real tax reform for the middle class and small businesses that will grow locally and into the economy. In terms of women and families, she wants to have champion legislation for equal pay for women and for all people, as well as prioritize safety on college campuses. In terms of education, she wants to make public colleges and universities more affordable and allow with crushing student loan debt to refinance. In terms of rural Illinois and local problems, she wants to increase investments in modern, efficient waterways to help more products to market, as well as protect crop insurance to keep our farmers growing. In terms of tax reform, she wants to retain deductions and credits for medical expenses, teachers, graduate students, and student loans, and other individual breaks needed to help families. Now I'm going to switch over to some information on Rodney Davis, the Republican nominee or candidate for the Congressional 13th District. In terms of one key aspect is that in terms of abortion, he is pro-life as well as opposes public abortion funding and also opposes churches providing birth control. In terms of the budget and economy, he opposes any future increase in the debt ceiling. Also voted yes on prioritizing spending in case debt limit is reached. In terms of civil rights, Davis does not believe in affirmative action and voted yes on reauthoring the Violence Against Women Act. In terms of crime, he wants to expand the death penalty and limit appeals, as well as increase mandatory life sentences for third-time felons. For drugs, he wants to strengthen drug penalties associated with drug-related crimes. For the environment, he sponsored no permits for legal pesticide runoff into lakes and streams, and wants to limit the EPA oversight to allow mining over fishing. In terms of health care, he wants to repeal and replace what he finds as the flawed Obamacare. He supports repealing it and as well as a market-based health insurance. He supports repealing the Affordable Care Act as well as religious exemptions from Obamacare individual mandates. For gun control, he wants unabashed supporter for our Second Amendment rights as well as opposing and restricting the Second Amendment. In terms of corporations, Davis voted yes on workforce training by state block and grants and industry partners, as well as supporting tax incentives for job creations. When you look on both sides of Londrigan and Davis, they're pretty similar in terms of jobs and the economy, but also in terms of things like gun rights and Second Amendment, they're very on opposite ends. And now we have a story coming up for one of our reporters here at UI7.
So you read it off earlier talking about Erica Harold dropping out of her race. We brought it up, a former U of I alum, actually here in Urbana, and I was just in the war room listening to her conceding speech and talking about how she wanted to thank everybody, of course, for their continued support. Really wanted to get across the point that she was going to continue, advocating for the things that she had been advocating for throughout her campaign. One of the big ones that she hit on throughout her speech here was the lack of partisanship in future voting, and talking about how she was happy with the way that she ran her race. She was happy with how everything went. Obviously, losing the race by concede, but I mean, at the end of the day, she wanted to get across the point that she stands by everything that she was running with. She was happy with the way that things went. She was very thankful for all the support that she got, and it was a very gracious goodbye to what she labeled as a very hard-fought campaign.
All right, thank you very much. Next, coming up, we have Alex Kim on the phone, who has the Democratic reactions to the recent concedings. Alex, can you tell us what the reactions are like right now? What are the emotions rolling?
Hi, the atmosphere here is electric at the moment. People are excited about the new results now. Justin, Mississippi Senate has won as well. And with the prior wins as well with the loss of two other Republican candidates, people are excited, sharing drinks. There's a lot of music going on here. Yeah, generally people are talking about the future projections, and it looks very optimistic here.
I believe you mentioned this before, so this is at Canopy, is that correct?
Yes, this is in the middle of Canopy.
Cool, so I can probably assume that it's probably a huge party scene right now in terms of those two races.
Yep, there's a lot of people singing at the open stage, sharing their songs. Just generally about 100 to 200 people out on the stage watching the screen. And yeah, it's generally a very electric atmosphere. People are very excited.
Alex, do people have a lot of opinions on the Londrigan and Davis race going on right now?
A lot of people project that Londrigan will win for sure. I'm not sure about the statistics in this now, but a lot of people are talking about a split between the two. And yes, again, people are maintaining an optimistic lookout on the race.
Well, thank you very much, Alex, for coming on there tonight.
Thank you. Alex Kim from Canopy Club.
All right, thank you to Alex again. Obviously, just a lot of different developments happening right now. Moving on, it's been a year since Illinois lawmakers overrode Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner's veto on an income tax increase bill because Illinois still is struggling with their budget. So with a story on that, we have that coming up right now on the tax reform.
In the past decade, Illinois has struggled with creating consistent budgets and managing their taxes. J.B. Pritzker wants to raise taxes and put a higher tax on the rich, while candidate and current Governor Bruce Rauner wants to reduce the tax bracket. The Chicago Tribune reports that J.B. Pritzker wants to raise Illinois' flat income tax rate, boost credits and deductions, while lawmakers consider changing the state constitution to allow for a graduated income tax. University of Illinois student Keith Jones says because Pritzker isn't saying exactly how much he wants to increase taxes, he is uneasy.
I don't really see any concrete plans on where he wants to put that money toward. He says that he wants to put some of the money toward say school reform, especially when it comes to CPS. But other than that, there's not much that's going on, and he wants to keep people in. But again, I don't really see how you raising taxes and trying to improve the school system is going to keep people in if they're already gone.
University of Illinois political science professor Brian Gaines keeps track of what is happening in Springfield. He says changing the way taxes are structured in Illinois requires amending the state's constitution.
The trickiest thing is it's in our state constitution, our 1970 constitution, that we have a flat tax. That doesn't mean everybody pays the same income tax. There are lots of exemptions and deductions, so you don't start paying until you hit a certain threshold. But as you move from middle class to wealthy, you're still paying the same percentage in state income taxes.
Pritzker's opponent, Governor Bruce Rauner, says that he wants to reduce taxes, but Champaign voter David Mizell isn't sure the governor could get the legislator to approve.
I think if Bruce Rauner is reelected, I could see us returning to gridlock. Because I know it was very difficult to get the state legislature and the governor on the same page. And for a number of years, Illinois and the university even suffered by not having a set budget and things like that.
Whoever is elected governor November 6th will be expected to follow through with his promise. Danielle Williams, UI7 News.
So just for a quick recap before we go to our break, we already know that Bruce Rauner has conceded to become a Republican candidate, J.B. Pritzker, and Erica Harold has conceded to Cuomo Raoul, who is a Democratic candidate for Attorney General. With me next, I have Brian Binns, who has an update before our break.
Yeah, so as you said,
former Governor Rauner, he conceded earlier in the hour, and just after he conceded, he took the podium in Chicago at his watch party, gave his concession speech. Pretty standard stuff. He said he calls for the people of Illinois to work together, unite, put aside partisan politics. He also said that he called Pritzker tonight. He said he hopes and prays that Pritzker serves Illinois well, and that he looks forward to assisting in a full effort for a smooth transition. So at least he's not too salty about the loss. Pritzker has not taken the podium at his watch party, but Comptroller Susan Mendoza did to kind of take a victory lap for both of them. She said, "We're trading a K-heart with no heart for a kind leader with a strong heart." So pretty strong words from the winning party tonight.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So just before our break, I thought I'd recap a little bit of Pritzker's stances since he has won this election. Some of his main stances are his plans to protect seniors as well as people with mental health issues. He has priorities for protecting immigrant families. He wants to stand against Donald Trump's attacks on Dreamers and fight for permanent legislative solutions for DACA recipients. He wants priorities for protecting the environment, put Illinois on a path for 100% clean renewable energy, and attract commercial investment in clean energy production and transmission here in Illinois. He's talked a lot about legalizing marijuana for recreational use and decriminalizing it, and to put a framework in place to license businesses to sell it to consumers for recreational use. One more stance is his public health approach to gun violence, to empower the Illinois Department of Public Health to expand their treatment of gun violence as a public health epidemic. As well as another stance that he has is his commitment to LGBTQ rights, addressing the rights of anti-LGBTQ hate crimes, as well as particular against the transgender community. Well, it is about that time. We are going to head to break, and pretty soon we'll be back in a little bit with the rest of our live coverage of election night here at UI7 News. Please stay tuned for more election coverage. Thank you. After our recap, we're going to Isaac on the phone.
So should I do this first? And then go to Isaac?
Yeah, 1 minute. Tati, do my story. Do my story in here.
Live from Gregory Hall on the University of Illinois campus, this is UI7 Radio News.
Good evening, I am Will Bro.
And I am Jake Hassan. Welcome back to UI7's live coverage of the election results from the campus of the University of Illinois.
We're in a studio in Gregory Hall, and we are here to bring you live coverage of election night from Richmond TV studio.
You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ILLElect, or follow the hashtag ILLElect for live reporter updates.
So far tonight, we've been keeping up, listening up to date on the Governor, Attorney General, 13th Congressional District, 104th State Representative District, County Executive, and County Clerk races for Illinois. Quick recap, we have already seen Republican candidate Bruce Rauner concede to the Democratic Representative J.B. Pritzker. So J.B. Pritzker has taken the W for the governor's race.
Yeah, we've also got an update from the Attorney General race. Not too long ago, Erica Harold conceded. She's a Republican candidate for Attorney General. She conceded to Democratic candidate Kwame Raoul. She has officially conceded. Harold, the former Miss America and University of Illinois graduate, was running for office. Harold was defeated by incumbent Rodney Davis during the 2014 election for a downstate congressional seat. Native of Urbana, Harold paid her way through Harvard Law School by competing in and winning the 2003 Miss America contest. There was a wide range of platforms Harold wanted to improve, from opioids to harassment prevention. Former prosecutor for the Cook County State Attorney's Office, Kwame Raoul, is running as a Democratic candidate, and he is who Harold conceded to. Raoul was appointed to fill the vacant seat in the legislature left by former state senator Barack Obama in 2004. His passion for equal rights, criminal justice reform, and women's rights are a few of the issues Raoul stands to change. As a survivor of prostate cancer, Raoul is committed to finding accessible and affordable health care for everyone. So again, Harold concedes Kwame Raoul in the Attorney General race.
Another quick update before we go to our reporter, Isaac. 50% of all votes in the Illinois state are in, and Democrats are in favor in all Illinois state races. We will now be heading over to our reporter, Isaac Trotter, who is on the scene with the Republican Party. Isaac, can you tell us what the feelings are at the moment?
Stunned silence.
Could you just tell us the overall feeling?
That's it. They're very somber. They're very quiet, kind of just relaxed right now. They're just watching and waiting and hoping for some good news, but they kind of understand that might not happen tonight. And that's kind of the atmosphere over here right now at the Republican Party. There's just a sense of a missed opportunity. They thought Erica Harold would be the future, maybe possibly a chance to be a really good governor for the state of Illinois. But now that, with all of this that is happening right now, it's kind of opening the door for the Democrats to take advantage, and that the Republican Party is very, very somber at the moment. And plenty of people have talked about how they want to leave the state of Illinois now because they feel like their taxes are going to go through the roof, and it'll make it just not affordable to live in the state of Illinois anymore.
Are there any hopes for the Davis race still at this point?
I mean, there's definitely some hope for it. Ted Cruz just won in Texas, so that just got a rousing applause from the Republican group here. But, you know, Davis is a very sizable thing he has to come back from against Mr. Londrigan. So they're hopeful that he can do it. There's some interesting, Macon County just had 25 to 26% of the precincts for that county. And Davis has a 2-to-1 advantage there so far, so I expect him to get a good win there, expect him to make some ground there. But when you're down 19% right now, there's a significant amount of that he needs to make up in a hurry.
Thank you very much, Eric. Or Isaac, I'm sorry. One quick update that we have, breaking news right now. Down south, Ted Cruz won the re-election in Texas, defeating Democratic Representative Beto O'Rourke after a very heated race that happened down in Texas. Sitting next to me, I have Eric, UI7 reporter Eric, and he is coming to give us an update on the Londrigan-Davis race.
Yeah, quick update on District 13. With 47% of the vote in, Londrigan's lead has shrunk to 54 to 46%. That trend is continuing as more rural counties are starting to report in from the rest of the district, and it looks like this is going to be the nail-biter race that we were all expecting for so many months.
That's very interesting to hear. More breaking news. In North Dakota, Kevin Kramer won the Senate race, defeating Heidi Heinkamp. This is more breaking news that is coming to us as we are reporting live for election coverage from all states as well as Illinois in specifically. So, as we run through the night, I think I will take you through some more information in terms of the issues that Davis and Londrigan are fighting for in this race. For starters, we can go back to Davis. In terms of his main stances, we talked about his policies on abortion and the budget and economy, and how he is mostly trying to expand the death penalty as well as limit appeals. Ooh, I am just getting waved. We will be going to break now for a minute or two. Please stay tuned for UI7 break. Thank you.
Confidence in kids.
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/therightseat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I want to change some things. I want the moms where I live to have childcare they can trust.
I want to make sure my little brother and his friends have a safe place to play.
I want to help more kids graduate from high school. Help more hardworking families learn how to budget and save.
I want more of my neighbors to have access to health care.
Want to make a difference? There are so many ways you can. Help create opportunities for everyone in your community.
I want to change what I see around here.
United Way is creating real, lasting change where you live by focusing on the building blocks of a better life: education, income, and health.
I mean, I just want to see more smiles on my sidewalks.
Reach out a hand to one and influence the condition of all. Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. For more, visit United Way at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. This is Will Bro at UI7 News and Greg Hall. We are now meeting with Delia at the Republican Party to get more updates on the Davis and Londrigan race. Delia, can you update us on the overall atmosphere and reactions that you are seeing right now?
Yeah, so when they were announcing the upcoming results, obviously the Davis-Londrigan race is hugely important in order to remain with the power in Congress, but specifically in the House. And it was silent. The room was dead silent. And as they announced that Londrigan is still up, they are still remaining hopeful, but there was definitely disappointment. Also, based on the reaction of the people, they're really not that concerned about how Davis is going to be doing. They're still looking hopeful, like I said, and they're really excited to see what Davis is doing. They are mostly moral voters. They are big on gun control, and that was reiterated multiple times, and they are going to continue voting the way that they do, meaning that they're just always going to support Davis.
You mentioned something about moral voters. Did they ever explain more into what that meant to them at all, or not really?
So moral voters, they're voting mostly on civil rights. So things like gay marriage. I've talked to a few people who definitely have stances that might not necessarily be of the local popular opinion, but they stand behind Davis for his reasoning behind voting the way that he does. He supports Trump over 95% of the time, and they really believe that he is for their issues. He doesn't just vote based on what everyone else is doing. He stands his ground on what he believes in.
All right, thank you very much for that update. A little bit more breaking news. We have Ron DeSantis beating Andrew Gillum in the next race. He beat the Republicans came out winning that race 50% to 49%. And will we continue to bring more updates to you throughout the night with more election coverage?
We actually do have an update for the race for county clerk, for Champaign County Clerk. Right now from the News Gazette, Democrat Aaron Ammons is currently ahead in that race with over 31,000 votes. Ammons leads over the Republican candidate Matt Grandone, who has less than 27,000 votes thus far. Of the 118 precincts in the county, 65 have reported back. That is 55% of the total votes that have yet to be determined. The News Gazette reported that Ammon seeks to demonstrate a code of ethics that voters can trust by making changes to the current administration. Grandone aims to use budgetary finances, such as grants in the department, to transition a part-time contractual programmer to a full-time internal staff member and adapt more quickly to changing Illinois election code. That is reported from the News Gazette. Once again, Democrat Aaron Ammons leading the race for Champaign County Clerk.
Well, while we wait for a few more updates to come in, I was thought I'd talk about a little bit about margins of error. So
small.
Looking for margins of error, it tells you how in your audience much the results can vary. Remember that the larger the margin of error, the greater the likelihood the survey estimate will be inaccurate. Making sure a political candidate really has the lead before you report it is very important. One thing that you should know is that there are real trends and that there are mistaken claims of trend. Another thing to keep in mind is that the margin of error of subgroups of a sample will always be larger than the margin of error for a sample. It's also good to use caution when comparing results from different polls and surveys, especially those conducted by different organizations.
So some people would say that you should be careful when determining who's going to lead your state and country government. Right. Okay, cool. Just wanted to confirm that. And we're still waiting to get some more information from here, but just to recap really quickly, 20 minutes in here, if you're just joining us, J.B. Pritzker has won the race for governor. Bruce Rauner conceded just about an hour ago. Also, Erica Hammond has conceded in the race for attorney general too. So the Democratic Party has taken probably the two top positions in these races, winning the governor race and the attorney general race. So it's really shaping up to be their night. We talked to Isaac Trotter earlier. He said that the Republican parties are just stunned. They don't really know what to do, and they're hoping for the best at this point.
Sounds good. So we have UI7's reporter Taylor on the spot at the Democratic Party. Taylor, could you please tell us the Democratic reactions? Oops, sorry, we're getting a little volume mix up here. Taylor, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Just go over some updates and reactions from the Democratic response right now.
Right now, everyone is very positive and everyone is very excited. There's a lot of music going on, a lot of dancing. Everyone is very hopeful for the next election.
How do they feel about the Londrigan-Davis race right now?
They're extremely excited, just considering that it's been almost 100 years since the 13th congressional race. So they're very excited about that.
I mean, what was the reaction once Rauner conceded to Pritzker, and also when Harold conceded too? I mean, what was the initial reaction? I mean, could they believe it? I mean, or was this something they were expecting?
People were very joyous and they were very hopeful about the 2020 election, especially millennials. We spoke with the president of the Illini Democrats, and she was very excited and very hopeful of what is to come in the future. But they realize that there's a lot still left to do. She considered it a trial, and she believes that this election will help them in the next election.
So, when we talked to our reporter at the Republican Party right now, they said that there's still a lot of confidence in the Davis-Londrigan race on the Republican side. Is there any fear of Londrigan not making it through this race?
Can you repeat that question?
Do you see any fear of Londrigan not making it through her race at the Democratic Party? Because the Republicans at the Republican Party are still very confident that Davis may still come through.
No, not at all. The Democratic Party is extremely confident that she will pull through and win this race.
All righty, Taylor, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Taylor for that update. Obviously, as she said, the Democrats feeling very comfortable right now, feeling very confident. I mean, even when we asked her just now, she said even with one race left, and even the Republicans feeling that they can still get a seat of power here with Rodney Davis, that they're still very confident. And I mean, obviously that happens when you win the Attorney General and Governor race.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Well, moving on to voter turnout. Historically, University of Illinois student voters do not turn out to vote. In the midterm election in 2014, the lowest percentage of ballots reported was 12.8% at the University YMCA. Some off-campus polling places reported over 60% for more of the residential Champaign-Urbana areas. Polling places on campus have included the Illini Union, the Halil Center, the Student Dining and Residential Programs Building, as well as the University YMCA and ARC Center.
Yeah, and on campus, the Union was the most popular polling place. In 2014, almost 20% of the people registered to vote at the Union showed up and voted there. This year, the Illini Union also hosted early voting, which started on October 25th. And across the state, there's also same-day voter registration. That means voters could register to vote at a polling place and then proceed to vote right there. This is part of a statewide movement to get the vote out. And here are a few people expressing why they wanted to vote.
Because I believe in the democratic process, and because I believe that the people's voice needs to be heard.
I'm not very happy with the current administration and getting some more checks and balances on it, so it's not just a one-party system of government up there.
I saw a lot of the coverage against birthright citizenship recently. I am a citizen of this country, and even though I spent 21 years in India, I'm not a citizen of India.
Just to make a difference, to make it feel like we have an ability to kind of shape our future in a way. So I think voting is a crucial part of taking hold of that.
I'm really hoping that this will make a change as far as getting the country on the right track, and it's important to vote each time, but I think it's more important to even do it at this midterm election because of recent issues in the government.
Well, I'm trying to legalize weed.
I just know it's like my duty as a U.S. citizen to vote. That's like what they say, right?
My mom told me to go vote, so.
I think that voting is a civic duty and a responsibility of all Americans.
And thank you for that story. We currently have Isaac Trotter back on the phone to also talk about voter turnout. Isaac, are you there? Isaac is about to come in soon. So Isaac.
Sorry, folks. We're trying to get Isaac on the line right now.
Working on it. Isaac, hello.
Yes.
Okay, so you are here. We just talked about voter turnout for a second, so we are understanding that you have more information to provide on that subject.
Yeah, so there's a lot more numbers. Things to figure out the number of people that actually voted, and it's a significant number higher. Now, they don't have an exact number figured out yet. They're doing the math right now. There's been significant numbers higher, and Mahomet is a small town that's about 15 minutes from Champaign County, and that's the town that still hasn't got the numbers in, but the Democrats have done right and that's like that in multiple states right now. The Democrats came out to vote in a hurry for these type of elections. I think Republicans will retain the control in the Senate, which is a big deal to them, and they're happy about that. Ted Cruz, the big win that kind of helps steal that state for the Republicans. But again, it looks like a record number of turnout for the Democrats in this election.
So is that something that they just weren't counting on over there at the Republican Party? I mean, or is it something more that Republicans just didn't come out as much and as strongly as they anticipated?
No, it's the Democrats came out just a lot more than what they expected, and the Republicans kind of came out exactly what they expected, not necessarily any numbers that were too shocking, kind of about the same that they projected. But the Democrats' increase was significantly higher, and that looks like it's going to be the difference of the race, and that's why a lot of people over here are pretty stunned and really surprised with some of the the results that have happened so far. In results to Erica Harold losing and for also Governor Rauner being ousted so quickly and so easily.
There's still a lot of hopes out for the Davis race right now?
No, not much over here. They think that the Davis race is getting closer and closer to being called Londrigan in the lead. They're very not happy about that right now. Obviously, the numbers have to start and that thing get changed in a hurry, but as of right now, their expectations are that Londrigan will win.
All right, Isaac, thank you for that report. Thank you for having your ear to the ground with that. We will be taking a break here, but when we come back from break, Brian Binns will be in to talk about voter turnout a little bit more with you guys right after a break.
See you soon. Stay tuned.
Change some things. I want to help more kids graduate from high school.
I want more of my neighbors to have access to health care.
I want to change what I see around here.
United Way is creating real, lasting change where you live by focusing on the building blocks of a better life: education, income, and health.
I just want to see more smiles on my sidewalks.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. For more, visit United Way at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right?
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back from our break. This is Will Bro here with Brian Binns, UI7 reporter, and Brian has an update for us on the governor's race as well as another discussion.
Yeah, so Rauner already took the podium for his concession speech, but J.B. Pritzker just a little while ago took to his podium for his victory speech around 9:18 after an introduction from Lieutenant Governor-elect Julius Stratton. Pritzker congratulated all his supporters for, as he said, making history, and thanked all of his campaign workers to start, and then he thanked Rauner on his years of service and wished him and his family well. He's still on the podium right now, but just at the beginning of his speech, he just kind of talked about like all the kind of base of his voters that kind of helped him out, the young people, the women of color, the young people of color, and he said that they've kind of seen the rust of old ideas and they've decided to kind of move on to the new things. So just kind of that continued message for Pritzker about moving on from the old and getting with the new.
It's great to hear.
And then after, with the new election of Governor-elect Pritzker, many large Illinois organizations are putting out their statements on the recent events. Planned Parenthood Illinois congratulated Pritzker and said they are looking forward to working with him. They said that Pritzker will protect Illinois as an oasis for reproductive health care for Illinoisans as well as people in the surrounding states in the Midwest. SEIU Healthcare Illinois, which is part of a larger Midwest healthcare union. President Greg Kelly said that Pritzker is bringing a close to 4 years of attacks on working families under Rauner and called for Pritzker to deliver on the message he got elected on. The Illinois Farm Bureau and the Illinois Policy Institute have also voiced support for the new governor-elect. So far, positive reaction to the new governor-elect.
Thank you for that update, Brian. We have some more breaking news in terms of the new county executive position for Champaign. Darlene Kleppel is ahead in the race for county executive of Champaign County. With 65 out of 118 precincts counted, Democratic candidate Kleppel is currently leading with 53.96% of the vote against her opponent, Gordy Holton. Kleppel was the first to enter the race when the proposal for county executive was passed after an organized referendum in 2016. The first time this politician decided running against Gordy Holton, who had previously worked as Champaign's county clerk. Kleppel plans on using her experience working as the community services director for the Champaign County Regional Planning Commission to formulate long-term plans for improvement of the country. As a lot of you may not know as well, the county executive position is a new Champaign government position that is being newly in place this year. So this executive typically functions either as a voting member of the elected county government or may have veto powers similar to other elected executives, such as a governor, president, or mayor. The position of an appointed county executive is similar to that of the city manager. The executive is generally given full responsibility for total operation of all the departments based on general directives provided by the elected county government that hired the executive. So it'll be very interesting to see where this race goes to in the next few weeks as well.
Yeah, and county executive is a local position, and for more on the local voting, the local turnouts, we go to Chris, who has some insight into that. He's on the phone right now.
Chris, are you on the line right now?
Hello?
Hey, Chris, can you just tell us what's happening right now?
Yeah, well, thank you. We're live from Brookings Center, sitting in a conference room, getting the updates as they come in. And we've tried to get a hold of incumbent county clerk Gordy Holton, and as of right now, all the county clerk employees have kind of secluded themselves in a room. They said that they're too busy for any sort of media availability. So that's the latest on kind of what's going on at the county clerk's office. But otherwise, it's been pretty tame here at Brookings Gymnasium. We're slowly but surely getting the printed results. And, if anything changes, we'll be sure to let you know.
All right, thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
And just as an update in the 13th district, in that congressional district race, Republican and three-term incumbent Senator Rodney Davis is fighting to keep his office, while the Democratic challenger Betsy Londrigan runs against him. GOP Representative Rodney Davis from Taylorville is the current congressman for the 13th District of Illinois. The 13th District includes part of the southwestern and southern Illinois, such as Edwardsville, Springfield, Bloomington, and Champaign. According to the Associated Press, Senator Davis credits the GOP tax bill for low underemployment and the strong economy, and says he's worked with the Trump administration to help the district. However, Democratic nominee Betsy Londrigan is focusing on health care coverage of pre-existing conditions, which is the center of her campaign. The AP is also reporting that Londrigan is a strong advocate for universal health care due to her son's history with a life-threatening illness and how this illness had the potential to bankrupt her family if they did not have the insurance. And according to an article from WGLT.org, Davis and Londrigan are facing off in one of the tightest races in the entire country. This race has gathered national attention as well as millions in out-of-state money due to Londrigan being a key player for the Democratic Party and taking over the House of Representatives. In the fourth and final debate between Davis and Londrigan last Monday, Londrigan criticized Davis's tax bill. In a quote from WGLT.org, Londrigan is quoted as saying, "That $2 trillion tax scam was a corporate giveaway. We all know that," she said. It went to the wealthiest among us. 83% of the benefits went to the wealthiest, corporations, and special interests. It was not a middle-class tax cut. Davis responded by accusing Londrigan of accepting out-of-state campaign contributions from Democrats looking to push President Donald Trump out of the White House. So that is one of the tightest races, and it'll be definitely something to keep an eye on there for the 13th District chair.
While we wait for some more updates, I'm going to talk to you about some of the money that was spent in the previous governor's race, which has broken some huge records for Illinois in general in terms of campaign spending. In terms of the governor's race, more than $284 million has been raised for the Illinois governor's race, more than the nearly $280 million spent in the record-setting 2010 California gubernatorial race, in which Republican former Representative Hewlett-Packard CEO Meg Whitman largely self-funded a losing campaign against Democrat Jerry Brown. The winner of the election gets the opportunity to lead a state that's been bleeding or drowning in debt. Pritzker has raised around $175.6 million, nearly all from his own pocket, and spent more than $120 million by September 30th alone, according to Illinois Election Commission records. The winner, Browner, a former private equity investor with a net worth he once estimated at about $500 million, has collected more than $79 million for the re-election bid. Another $29.3 million has been raised by primary challengers and the Conservative Party and Libertarian Party nominees and independent groups.
We now have an update coming through. We are going to get Alex on the phone from Canopy for a reaction from the Democrats. And Alex, can you just tell us what's going on there? How's everyone feeling there?
We're sorry, Alex. It's hard to hear you. Do you mind going somewhere a little bit quieter? It's a little hard to hear.
I mean, even from this, we can tell pretty much. We can tell it must be a pretty wild stuff for the Democrats there at Canopy.
Alex, are you still there?
He's trying, folks. Give him that. Alex, can you hear us?
Sorry, folks. We'll give him just a few more minutes.
And maybe not minutes, probably seconds.
2 more seconds.
All right.
Sorry, folks. We are appearing to have some technical difficulties.
I mean, I think that just tells you a lot. I mean, the Democrats clearly feel very good about where they're at. I mean, Alex couldn't even hear us. We could barely hear him over all the crowd background noise. So I think that really tells us all that we need to know.
Well, moving on to another burning topic that has been a huge topic in terms of this race. The topic has been recreational use of marijuana. Although this issue is not on the ballot, this election's candidates could ultimately decide whether marijuana becomes available for recreational use. With more information, here's UI7's Rory Higgins to give us more.
Marijuana legalization has been one of the most contentious issues debated among candidates leading up to the midterm elections next Tuesday. Governor Bruce Rauner has publicly stated his opinion that legalizing marijuana for recreational use would be a bad idea. Meanwhile, his opponent, J.B. Pritzker, has promised not only to legalize marijuana, but has a plan to repair the racial injustice surrounding the issue. Here to explain how criminalization of the drug has racial ties is U of I student Drake Materi, also a member of the Black United Front organization on campus.
There's a great book called New Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, great book. I read it around 4 times. The real thing was crack cocaine, crack cocaine, crack cocaine. On this. That's what you saw on TV. Mm-hmm. But the myth is, in reality, instead of the crack pen being taken down, they were really just taking weed offenders, who had weed, not weed offenders, but drug offenders who were using weed or dealing weed, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't say I'm exact on this. I believe our number said around 80% of all of those who were actually incarcerated at the time were actually for weed possession or weed dealing, not crack cocaine. And it was between a certain time, probably like in the 1980s. Again, 85% differential.
But even if Pritzker does as promised, students may be disappointed, according to Justin Brown, Director of the Office for Student Conflict Resolution and Associate Dean of Students.
Truly making it legal is going to impact university policy all that much. We are still obligated by the Safe and Drug-Free Schools Act, which is federal legislation, and our policies are still as much based on federal law as state law, and so even though we are a state institution, until there is movement at the federal level, we're unlikely to be able to, substantially alter our policies. Now, what might change is what the consequences are for marijuana use, but that it would be a policy violation will probably remain even after any substantial change at the state level.
Only time can tell if this election will make Illinois just the 10th state to legalize the drug. With UI7 News, I'm Rory Higgins.
Alrighty, this is Will Bros. Sitting next to me, I have UI7 reporter Eric with a quick update on the balance of powers as well. Eric, what do you have for us?
Yes, we have a major projection about the balance of power in Congress. NBC News is projecting that the Democrats will take control of the U.S. House of Representatives. They are projecting that after all the votes have been counted, they will have 229 seats in the House. They are also projecting that the Republicans will maintain their majority in the United States Senate. They are projecting that after all the votes are counted, they will end up with a majority of 53 to 47. So this is kind of how we expected the night to go. We expected the Democrats to do very well in the House and for the Republicans to do very well in the Senate.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very obvious that the blue wave has taken into effect this election season, and it's very interesting to see a lot of these polling come out. Thank you very much. So, currently we are calling UI7 reporter Becca and to talk about some more results and updates that are coming up. Becca, are you on the line?
Oh, so apparently whatever she said...
We're still trying to contact Becca right now, so I think I might as well talk to you a little bit more about some facts on your new governor, Bruce Rauner.
Yeah, so there are no volunteers, they're just with the media. Whatever Becca was saying.
Oh, looks like we'll be going to break right now. Stay tuned for more on election coverage in a bit.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that. Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the-right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
For many decades, the population in Illinois was steadily...
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food in our country than we know what to do with. Food at the grocery store and food in the vending machines, fast food, health food, and seafood. We've got so much food that anything people don't buy, we just throw out. Yet 17 million kids in America struggle with hunger. That ain't right. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Yeah, I made that up. It's kind of catchy. Hello, people. This isn't rocket science. We could solve hunger today. To start, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. That's a website. Duh. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Alrighty, we have UI7 reporter Becca on the line right now. She is at the Brookings Center to give us an update on voter turnout. Becca, are you on the line right now?
Yes, hello.
Alright, Becca, could you just give us an update on the atmosphere right now and any updates that you have?
Yeah, sure. So right now, all of the votes are in. We have 100% votes in, and there's 64% voter turnout this year in Champaign County. What's kind of been interesting is that Gordy Holton actually lost his race to Darlene Kloppel for the county executive race, which is very interesting because it's a new position for the county, so it's going to be interesting to see what she does with it. Gordy was the former county clerk, and now Aaron Amos has won that race, so Aaron will be taking over officially for the Champaign County clerk. And, yeah, so we know in 2014 there was a 49% voter turnout, so it has gone up to 64% this year. So definitely an increase in voting, and that's kind of the updates we have right now for Brookings.
Becca, I think you brought it up recently. Do you have any points or just quick updates to briefly talk about the county executive position as well as that being a new position for Champaign County?
Yeah, so this is going to be the chief executive of the county, and they administer parts of the county government that are not controlled by other officials. A big part of their job is they present the first proposed district map of the county board, and there's been a lot of talk with gerrymandering in the district and kind of independent districting and seeing how that should go about. Kloppel was the winner, so she Three of her big points she wanted to bring about were that there's going to be a 6-year plan that ties internal county administration to the county services in Champaign. She wants to look at the land use plan and zoning regulations, and she's really big on a safer jail, which we'll see those all take place in the upcoming couple years.
Alrighty, thank you, Becca.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
In the studio right now, I have UI7 reporter Brian Binns with an update on the Attorney General's race.
Yeah, so obviously Erica Harold conceded earlier tonight. She took to the podium in Champaign to address her supporters. She said she was proud of her campaign, and she'd called the winner, Kwame Raoul, Democrat, and congratulated him on winning. Just about 30 minutes later, Raoul delivered his victory speech in Chicago, and he said he'll do everything he can to fight Trump and his policies, and also touted that Illinois will still have access to abortion should the Supreme Court overturn Roe v. Wade due to a House bill that he supported when he was a state senator.
Thank you for that update, Brian. So now to wrap up the show, we are going to start talking about just election ads as well, and just in general, things that we noticed coming up to the election. One thing that we noticed was the amount of ad coverage that we saw on specific networking things such as Hulu. On Hulu, you could see the things like...
I'm back.
Oh, welcome back.
Yeah, actually, we have breaking news that Rodney Davis has taken a 0.2 percentage lead in his race. So that's interesting.
Oh, he's leading.
Yes, he just took the lead by like percentage points, like decimal points.
Well, that is some promising information for the Republican Party with this blue wave coming in right now, with a lot of Democratic candidates taking the win or the W for a lot of positions.
Yeah, but now we go to Taylor, who has an update from where she is at. Taylor, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, we're doing great, Taylor. How are you?
We're good. It's been a good day for the Democrats in Illinois.
Yeah, so can you just talk a little bit about what the atmosphere has been there and just how it's been going in this last hour or so?
Yes, the atmosphere is very emotional right now. There's a lot of people in tears, especially millennials. They are very hopeful for the next election. In particular, every countywide position has won by over 10 points for the Democratic Party, so they are truly very happy and emotional.
Yeah, and just can you walk us through just, when the results were announced and, what's next? I mean, what else are the Democrats looking at for, the next hour or so? What comes next?
Well, it seems that there's a lot of fellowship and a lot of just regrouping with one another. They seem to be very emotional and just hugging each other right now and just listening to the music and the musicians.
All right, Taylor, thank you so much for that update.
Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. We have breaking news, or an update at least.
We have some breaking news. CNN has projected that the New York Democratic congressional nominee Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will be the youngest woman to ever serve in the history of Congress. The 29-year-old is highly favored to win over her candidate, Republican Anthony Pappas, in the race for the 14th congressional district. Currently, Republican Elise Stefanik is the youngest member to serve in Congress, who was elected at the age of 30 in 2014. Ocasio-Cortez assisted former presidential candidate Bernie Sanders during his campaign. She additionally worked under the late Senator Ted Kennedy. A graduate of Boston University, Ocasio-Cortez would also hold the title of being the first representative to fully reflect the demographics of the 14th district, according to CNBC. Ocasio-Cortez told Now This that her district is 70% people of color and they have never had a person of color represent them before. Approximately 82% of the votes have been counted, and with Ocasio-Cortez receiving 79.3% of the votes, holding a steady 66.5% lead over Pappas's 12.8% of the votes.
Quite a story.
That is quite a story, I will say.
I think I saw a story a little while ago that Cortez was actually a bartender 4 years ago, so she's made quite the 180 and truly trying to make a difference now. But this has been a very eventful night. Obviously, the two biggest races, Attorney General and Governor, were decided really early. But across the country, not even Illinois, but also Illinois, votes still coming in, a lot of races still to be decided, especially the Rodney Davis and Betsy Londrigan race, which is really tight, obviously, down to within a percentage point. So that's something to watch. But it's been a lot to handle today.
Absolutely, and for a quick recap of the night, we have had Bruce Rauner concede to Democratic candidate J.B. Pritzker for the governor's race. We have also had, I'm sorry, what was the other race? That
Attorney General.
Attorney General.
Kwame Raoul.
Kwame Raoul, yep. Beat the Republican representative.
Erica Harold. She conceded shortly after Rauner conceded, too. So very quickly, those were back-to-back defeats for the Republicans, who now really pin all their hopes on Rodney Davis. I'd also like to point out that this was a statistic reported by the Chicago Tribune that 55.6% of voters came out to vote, the highest in 32 years.
That's insane. 3 decades.
Yeah, so that's a lot. But it's a lot of voters. I think the most in a while. Obviously, over 3 decades is a lot. And you're seeing it. Even when we talked to Taylor Howard, she said that the millennials really came out and made a difference this midterm election.
It just goes to show, too, on a previous story that I worked on in terms of, especially with the TV ads and the ad campaigns, like we don't really know exactly what's working. And based on when I talked to a professor in advertising, he literally said that, like, it all depends on what is happening on the time and who is that candidate at the time and what he has done. Clearly, there's lots of turmoil and tension right now in both parties, and so that's clearly caused this great turnout for voting in this midterm election.
Yeah, I mean, there's just been so much happening, especially with someone like J.B. Pritzker running, who had never run for office before. He had equity in a chain of Hyatt hotels before. Weren't really sure how that was going to go, especially with Rauner having already been in for 4 years. And then Kwame Raoul, he won. I think having the backing of someone like Barack Obama definitely helped him. But just a lot of interesting results, a lot of different things that happened. And, you know, it was interesting to follow it all night.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's definitely very interesting to see where this Davis and Londrigan race will end up, especially with the amount of Democratic representatives that have come out with the win, with the Republican candidates conceding. We will see where this is all headed. One quick update. According to CNN, they are projecting that Betsy Londrigan Dirksen is the winner over Davis in the Illinois seat for congressional seat election. So this will be very interesting to see if this is confirmed later on in the polling results.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost a sweep we're looking at in the top 3 races, so that really could be something there. Obviously would be a big blow for the Republicans, but I mean, again, it's close. I think we talked about earlier, it's within like a percentage point of each other, so that'll probably go down to the wire. But CNN is reporting that, and no one else is saying it, so obviously that could change. But it's 9:57 as we start to wrap up here. Thank you to our reporters who are out there, Isaac Trotter, Taylor Howard, Rebecca Woods, Alex, everybody that we talked to, Delia. Thank you to Eric and Brian for coming in with their stories. It was great to hear from them. And thank you to our producer, Tatiana Perry. She really did one heck of a job putting this all together. She crushed it. So thank you to her.
As well as our co-producer, Tim Glitzmore. Thank you very much, Tim, for all the help and time that you put into this broadcast as well.
Yeah, Jared for running the board. He did an excellent job with that. Gabby also helping running the phones. But everybody did a great job. Thank you to everyone for making this go really smoothly. Great job, guys. Awesome. You allow us to look better. You guys did great. It was awesome. But yeah, this was great. I think the one thing that we can all agree on that is the most positive result from tonight is no more Hulu ads, and that's all that matters, folks. We can watch it all. We can watch our shows in peace now. It's great. So with saying that, for myself, I'm Jake Hassan, and for Will, thank you for listening to our live UI7 election show. We'll now throw it back to the team at Richmond Studios. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you again.